First movie review you've seen me do in ages. I know, weird. As you can tell, I've got a little different sort of setting, just for a change. Anyway, so MB Film Reviews returning to your YouTube account. Now, I've seen a lot of movies, quite recently as a matter of fact, and I think I have a list somewhere. Aha! Loads of movies, I can tell you. Let's just put it this way, I've got I've got tons of reviews to do. Thankfully, my computer got fixed. Thank you, good person. Thank you, God. And I really want to get these reviews up and running. So the first one I'm going to do, which is now. Now, this is a movie I saw a couple of months ago because everyone has been talking about this film for a long time, and I've seen particularly Tom Chalabash's review. I've heard about how this movie's been brilliant. It's received loads of attention. It's got positivity of critics and moviegoers alike. And this movie's called 500 Days of Summer. Now, asking me, what did I think of 500 Days of Summer? You'll find out in this review, and you'll be quite surprised. Now, I went to go and see this movie with a friend of mine on a typical Saturday evening, Saturday daytime, because there was nothing to do, and I felt that, you know, I would be in for a very pleasant treat to see this film. And I really wish I hadn't gone to see this. Nope, I'm not lying, YouTube. I really did think that 500 Days of Summer was a piece of crap. Oh, dear me. Right, okay. I'm really sorry to disagree with you people, the public again, but this movie was terrible. I'm not going to lie. I really hated this film. And, well, first of all, I'll get into the plot before I actually get into my review. And I might try and make this straightforward. Okay, now the plot of the movie, it just essentially revolves around Tom, who's portrayed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And while he's at his job, typical bank job, you know, nothing special, he meets Summer, portrayed by Zooey Deschnaal. And what happens is that this kind of turns to a little complication of a love story. And on one little note while we're on that subject, people say this isn't a love story, when in fact, from the way I see it, it is a love story. It's got elements of a love story. One person at least falls in love and the other one doesn't. While it's different, it's still a love story. I think it is anyway, feel free to disagree with me. But anyways, that's not the point. Anyway, so they meet up with each other and, you know, obviously Tom wants to be more than friends, he wants to be intimate, and Summer just wants to just be friends because of complications with relationships. So the whole movie spawns about will they get together or not get together, and it's like it's sort of a drama. Okay, so that's the plot out of the way. Now, let's skip straight to the pros and the cons of the film. Now, I'm going to do my review style a little bit differently now, because I've noticed I've kind of copied other structures, and I don't want to do that. Now let's start with the pros of the film. And there really wasn't much that I did like about this movie, because it was that shit. Sorry to swear there, but I really do think this movie was terrible. But there were a couple of little nitpicks that I did like about it. One of the things I liked about it, there was a comedy scene in the middle of the movie, where particularly Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschnaal's characters were shouting a certain word in a public area. Not going to get into that scene there. But it was pretty funny. Unfortunately, the downside to that was one of the only laugh-out-loud scenes of the film. But that's the bad stuff to go later. Another thing I liked about it, now, visual-wise, the movie is fantastic. I liked the way that they told it like a diary. With every entry, it has a different time period, and it expresses how Tom's feeling and what's going through his life. So I liked that it went backwards and forwards throughout the 500 days, hence the title. And what happened, you know, obviously you go through different days, different periods to see how he reacts. I liked visually the way that was told. The cinematography in this movie is fantastic, I'm not going to lie. Cinematography was just phenomenal, and I really felt that the filmmakers deserve kudos for that. Marc Webb, I believe his name is, and he did a fantastic job with cinematography. The ending of the movie I also thought was very good. It was a satisfying ending, a good conclusion to the film, to what should have been good. Because now let's get into the bad stuff, and I dread to get into this. Okay, now you notice I go into the acting first. Here's the acting segment. The acting is terrible in this movie. I am so disappointed with the acting skills, or so claimed acting skills in this film, because let's get into it. Now everyone says The Final Destination had crap actors. Yes, I admit that. The acting was pretty pants. But the difference between that movie and this movie was that Final Destination was actually entertaining, whereas 500 Days of Summer was not. Oh my lord. Okay, 500 Days, now the problem, the bit, now, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, only seen him in G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra, and I thought he was pretty good in that. He didn't have much to play with there, though. Here, he had tons of things to play with, but he didn't roll with the ball and have fun with it. All he did was just literally do what he was told. Literally do what he was told. And I don't know why he didn't roll with the ball and have fun with his role. I really don't. Zooey Deschnaal was even worse. She was completely dull throughout most of this movie. And me and my friend, when we went to see this movie, we were like, what the hell are we watching? I know, piece of crap, right, isn't it? You know, nothing happened. Now, let's get into the more major flaws with this film. I'm going to get off with some minor ones first. Now, there's a couple of scenes in the movie where Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschnaal, sort of get it on. And clearly watching it as a moviegoer, for me, I saw that they had absolutely no chemistry. I mean, no chemistry at all. When I was watching them, it just looked like two doors making out. And that would be more interesting, which is the complete sad thing about that scene. It's one scene where they're in a photocopier, it's just basically Tom's photocopying something, Summer comes in, and then they start. And dull, boring, crap, no chemistry. That's pretty much all there was. Now the one other thing, and let's get this big problem out of the way for this movie. The big issue with 500 Days of Summer, I actually feel it didn't stick to its genre. And if I didn't have a poster, I did. There's a cover at the end at Empire Cinema, where I went to see this movie, has a magazine called Escape, and there was a comment on 500 Days of Summer, but I wouldn't show it to you because it would be backwards on the camera. But anyways, the one issue that 500 Days of Summer had was that it dragged in places. It seriously dragged. This is a 1.5 hour movie, and it felt like 2 hours. It felt like it had an extra half hour slapped on at the end, as in saying, oh, guess what? Let's have an extra half hour as if we weren't bored enough. Great. But the big issue with it was that I was looking at a review, or rather looking at a comment one critic made, and it said, quote, the best romantic comedy of the year, unquote. Simple, right? But no, see, there was no comedy. No comedy at all. With the exception of a couple one-liners and the scene I was talking about earlier, there was no comedy in this film at all. And I mean at all. Nothing. No comedy elements at all, and they didn't even try to entertain me. So I'm going to get out this review. Of all the movies I've seen recently, this is the worst. I have to say this is the worst one. I'm getting it out the way and getting some more positive reviews. Some more which I might do tonight, because I've got a few hours spare time, and also I've got a lot of reviews to do, and also because I want to get a review that puts me in a good mood, so you might see me wearing the same t-shirt. Anyway, so it's not because I'm scruffy. But overall, to summarise 500 Days of Summer in a couple of sentences, it would simply be this. 500 Days of Summer is like that. It's like a sort of a piece of food that looks brilliant on the outside. Everyone's been saying how great it is, but when you taste it, at the core of it, it tastes horrible. So for me, I'm going to give 500 Days of Summer 1.5 stars out of 5. Yes, one of the first movies I've given 1.5 stars out of 5. It's a terrible movie, and I really wish I hadn't gone to see this. Literally, my reaction after seeing it was this. What have we just watched? I don't know, piece of crap, wasn't it? Aye, let's go and tell all the staff here not to see it. Okay. And, one of the staff whom we work with at college, she went to see this a couple of days after we did. We warned her not to see it, but she went and saw it with some of her friends, and she agreed with us that it was rubbish. And so much so that one of our former colleagues at college asked us, how's 500 Days of Summer? He was considering taking his girlfriend to see it. We literally both jumped upon him and said, don't see it. So, yeah, I'm sorry if I seem very nasty in this review, but I wanted to get my feelings out. So, until next time, YouTube, when I actually do a more positive review, I know basically Michael Bowers signing out. Terrible movie, 500 Days of Summer, and don't want to see this ever again in my life.